Today we're gonna make something different. We're gonna make Turkish pita. So that's P-I-D-E, not P-I-T-A. It's basically like a Turkish pizza. They're delicious, and we're gonna do it sourdough. So another reason to use your sourdough starter. We're gonna make 4 of them in total. We're gonna make with 2 different fillings. So 2 lamb and 2 cheese. So yesterday we made the dough, which I will show you in a minute how to do. My energy levels yesterday were a little low. Freaking allergy season here is nuts. But then it snowed. It snowed in May. So there's that. So today I guess it's a little better. Took the pollen levels down maybe a little, but here we go. Any which way. So we're off to make the dough, and then we'll come back here and we'll start on our filling. Lately, I've been wanting to cook different things. Not getting out of the house, not going to restaurants. I'm really exploring different cultures and making different things. I had these while I was in Turkey, and they're freaking delicious. So I thought this is kind of a good, something different to make that you can make that's pretty simple, and we can also use our sourdough. So we'll start with, I have 1/2 cup of my super active sourdough starter. So I'm gonna put it in here, in my big bowl. Get it all out. And then I have 100 grams of water. I'm gonna add to that. Perfect. And here I have 1/4 cup of full fat Greek yogurt. That's gonna go in. Splat. I'm gonna give that a mix, just to combine all of that. Break up that yogurt. Ooh. Get all of that out of there. I don't want to waste. There we go. And we just want to stir this to break it all up and have it evenly combined. So I start making the dough. You can either make the dough in the morning and then have them for dinner, or you can make the dough up to 24 hours in advance. So I'm going to make this about 24 hours in advance. All right, so we get that nice and mixed up. I'm gonna add an egg. Go ahead and drop that in there. Woo, another splat. And I'm gonna mix that. So here I have flour. I'm today using all-purpose with a little bit of about 1/2 cup of white whole wheat flour. So I'm gonna add this now to the wet mixture, along with salt, a good pinch. So that's probably just under a teaspoon there. Now I'm gonna get in there with my hands and just get it all mixed together. So this dough is pretty sticky, pretty wet. If your dough is a little bit too wet, we want it soft, but we don't want it too sticky. You may have to add a little extra flour. And out of the bowl. So I'm going to add quite a bit of flour to this to get this to not be quite so sticky. Okay, we just want to knead this until it's smooth. So we started with the 2 cups of flour. Depending on the size of your egg and the kind of flour you're using, you may have to adjust and add a little bit more flour if it's too moist. So you want this nice and smooth and soft, but not super sticky. You want to be able to knead it and your hands don't stick to it. So here I kneaded it till it's nice, soft, and ready to go back in the bowl. So I just flour my bowl up a little bit so it doesn't stick. Put a little dusting on the top. And then I'll put it back in my bowl and I'm going to stick it in the fridge and let it sit until about, you want to bring it out about 3 hours before you're going to bake. You really want it to come up to room temperature. If you're making your dough the same day, I recommend just leaving it out. Just let it do its thing and let the sourdough work its magic by leaving it out. If you're going to do it overnight, because it does have an egg and some yogurt in it, then I put it in the fridge. But I'm sure to bring it out, like I said, 3 to 4 hours before you're going to bake it. So that's it. So we'll be back tomorrow to make the fillings and put it all together so we can have our magical Turkish food. All right, I'll see ya. So first we're gonna start on our lamb filling. I have everything already prepared and ready to go. I'm gonna link to the recipe down below so that you can have the full recipe here. We're gonna start with the lamb. We'll get that ready, set that aside, and then we'll put together our cheese filling, and then we'll get the pastry out and we'll make them, bake them, be done, and ready to eat. All right, so we have our skillet good and hot. I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then we're gonna throw in 1 chopped onion. And we're gonna cook that till it's soft. All right, we just wanna soften this onion. We don't wanna actually brown it. And now we're gonna add in a garlic. This is 2 cloves of garlic, and just cook that for about a minute. Now we wanna add our ground lamb. This is 300 grams of ground lamb, which is the equivalent of a heavy ½ pound. So just over a ½ pound. I converted this recipe from a Turkish recipe, so everything was in metrics. And we just want to turn the heat up on this now and really break this lamb apart. We want to brown this lamb a bit. The lamb cooking definitely has a very distinctive smell to it. The whole house smells lammy. Okay, now as you can see, this lamb has started to brown nice. Okay, so to that we're going to add, I have a tablespoon here of cumin, a ½ teaspoon of allspice, and 2 teaspoons of sumac. So if you're not familiar with sumac, it's a Middle Eastern spice. It actually comes from a berry, and it has a real tart flavor, a lemony tart flavor. It's delicious. So if you can't get a hold of any sumac, I would say give this just a pinch of lemon, but you could always order stuff online too. It's really good. All right, so that's good. So now I'm gonna add, I have 2 very finely chopped tomatoes going in there. Okay. I've got a tablespoon of tomato puree, 2 tablespoons of pomegranate molasses. This is really delicious. I got it just at my local grocery store. I just went to the Middle Eastern section and they have it. So it's not terribly hard to find, I should think, for most people. And it gives it just a really sweet, yummy flavor. To that, now I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water. I'm going to mix this all really well. And here's when we're going to add some seasoning too. So I have about a teaspoon of kosher salt and then some fresh cracked pepper. Okay. Mix that all together. And now we're just going to let that simmer for about 10 minutes. We're going to let all that liquid cook out of it so that it's real kind of sticky and glossy and not wet. And we'll just stir this occasionally. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. And as you can see now, it's shiny and it's quite sticky looking. So at this point, I'm going to taste again for seasoning and see if it needs any more salt and pepper. That's perfect. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay, now for our cheese filling. We're going to start with 1 cup of ricotta. To that we add half a cup of feta, crumbled feta. I went a little heavy on my feta. Crumble that all up in there. Okay, then we have the zest of 1 lemon. I don't know if you can see my naked lemon off there on the side. I always feel so bad for the lemons after I zest them. We're just going to have a few sprigs of mint. Then we add some thyme. Normally I would use fresh thyme, but I was having a hard time finding any. So today we're going to use dried thyme. I love thyme. So just a pinch. And then 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And go ahead and mix that together. If there's any big chunks of feta in there, just go ahead and break those up. So depending on how salty your feta is, you may want to add a bit more salt. I don't think mine is terribly salty, so I'm just going to taste a little bit of it. And this could definitely use a pinch of salt. A big crack of black pepper. And there you have it, our cheese filling is ready. Okay, so we have both of our fillings ready. The dough is ready. So I'm just gonna take it out of here, out of the bowl. I'm gonna put this on my floured board here. And then I wanna cut it into 4 equal pieces. And then I'm going to weigh these to make sure that I have them even. So I've got all 4 pieces approximately equal. I'm just going to roll these into balls. Pinch them, shape these into a ball, set it aside. So just make sure our board is good and floured. I'm going to start with 1 ball here, put a little flour on top, and we're going to roll it out into an oval shape. So we want it to be approximately 1/8 of an inch thick. And if they're not perfectly shaped, that's fine. So I have my pan over here with parchment paper, lined with parchment paper. So I find that it's easier to move the dough right now before it has any filling on it and put it right on the pan. So we're starting with the lamb filling. I'm gonna go ahead and roll out another one. We're gonna do 2 at a time here. So we're going to start with the lamb filling. I just like to eyeball it and sort of divide it up in the pan into half and half. Okay. We're going to put it on our dough, leaving a border around the edge. Whoop, making a mess. That lamb smells so good. I'm getting hungry making this. Now the fun part. Ooh, I just love working with dough. We're gonna fold the dough up and over, just a little bit. And on the ends, we're gonna crimp them so they kind of get this football shape. So just gonna gently pull that dough up and over, up and over. So here I have an egg wash. It's just one egg with a little bit of water. I'm gonna brush on the dough, edges of the dough here. It's gonna give it some nice shine. Okay, got it evenly all over the dough. I'm gonna go ahead with some sesame seed and just sprinkle that across the top. Get it on the dough, get it on the filling. Go crazy. So now these are going to go into my 425 degree preheated oven for about 15 minutes until they're golden brown. All right, so our lamb pita is ready to come out of the oven. Ooh, beautiful, golden brown. Very good. So I'm gonna set this aside and get to work on the cheese pita. So now we're gonna get to work on our cheese pita. You definitely could put these in the oven at the same time. I just only have one pan, so I find it easier to just do them separately. And besides that, you want these to cool a little bit before you eat them. You can't have them flaming hot and you're trying to eat them. So we just roll out our dough again to a nice oval shape. So I gotta tell you, I didn't do a very nice job making these nice even oval shapes, but that's okay. So again, I just sort of divide the cheese into two here, eyeball it, put it in. So just spread this out, again, leaving a border around the edge. So again, we're just gonna pull the dough over the edge and crimp the ends. Okay. So now these are actually going to get something special. They're going to get an egg in the center of them. So it's good to take your spoon and make a little well here, so right where that egg is going to go. We're not putting it in right now. We're going to bake it a little bit and then we'll put our egg in. But you need a nice space for that egg to go. So I'm going to do that right there and build up the sides a little bit. And you're going to want to use a smaller egg for this so that it doesn't run over. So again, I'm just going to brush these with the egg wash right along the edge of the dough. And then these are just going to get a drizzle of olive oil across the top. So now these are going to go in the oven for about 7 minutes, and then we're going to take it out and we're going to put an egg right in our little egg wells there. Okay, so it's been 7 minutes and I've taken these out of the oven and I'm going to add the egg. So I like to crack the egg into a bowl first, just to make sure, in case you get a bad egg, that you just don't ruin your creation here. And so I have that well that I made. I'm just going to carefully put it in there. So it's good to use smaller eggs for this too. So don't run over, and you don't want to break your yolk. Now I'm gonna very carefully put this back in the oven for another 9 to 11 minutes. Okay, so my cheese pita is smelling really good and it's ready to come out of the oven. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh yes. Oh yeah. So these are golden brown. The egg is set. The yolk still looks a little soft. Amazing. So I'm gonna let these cool for a few minutes before I dig in. The best part. Okay, now the best part. I get to stuff my face. And actually, I'm starving right now, so this is gonna be really good. I'm gonna start with the lamb. Cuts nice. Yeah, it looks good. It's brown on the bottom. So good. With the sweet and the tangy, it's almost like a kind of Turkish barbecue sauce that this makes. It's really, really good. I love that one. Now for the cheese. So the egg is nice. Let me show you. Oh yeah. Because the egg is perfect in the center. The white is completely set, but the yolk is kind of runny and gooey. Perfect. First of all, I love feta, so fantastic. And you can really taste the lemon zest in that. They're so good. I may or may not share them with anybody. I'm starving, so I'm gonna go sit down. I'm gonna eat this. It's so good. I could be in Istanbul. I'm not, but it could be. Anyway, enjoy the recipe. And please let me know how it goes. Take pictures. I wanna see your pictures. You're probably gonna fold it up nicer than I just did, but doesn't matter because it tastes amazing. So let me know how it goes.